Hello, and welcome to another Tooth and Tail commentary. Another 2v2, same as the first one. We got me in the red and John or Scorn in the blue up to the north up here. And in the south, we got the same two, Russian in the green and crispy fried potatoes in the yellow. Alright, I'll go times two for a little bit during the scouting. One thing that we noticed very quickly on me and John is it's a very even map, and we got this interesting little island of high ground in the middle. So all of us have quite a few Grismals surrounding us, but this high ground, if one of us is able to take that, especially early on, and really dig in, we can get the Grismal behind it and deny crispy fried potatoes and Russian from the two Grismals right next to it. And if we manage to deny them that, it will force them to have to expand out to that area to the right, to those two Grismals there. So we decided that I would build up my army, and John would claim that Grismal, and I'll try and protect it while it's building, make sure that they can't get an early attack in on it. So I'm kind of wandering around the higher ground there in the middle, making sure that they aren't about to move in or try and claim the Gristmill there. John claims his one, and I've got two lizards to protect it at the moment. But I've got three hives pumping out units, so the units are kind of hiding behind there a little bit, just in case there is an attack coming in early. The Gristmill can absorb some of the damage, and I'll get my units to come in and try and hurt them. Now we've just been scouted, but there's not really too much they can do about it, especially because we've got the high ground. And we've already got 5, 6, 7 lizards now. John's also building the bullet hive very quickly. I've got my air sniper coming up for construction. The air sniper will deny them really any opportunity to push out towards us. So I'm quite happy I chose that for this map. Of course, you choose your units before you see the map, so it's always a bit of a gamble with some things, but it paid off for us. John's building another bullet hive, so we're really trying to. We've also got our warrens up on the high ground so that we get instant reinforcements. Now I'm gone for this expansion up here because I feel like we don't need to invest too much in our army at the moment. If crispy fried potatoes and Russian try and attack us, we've got such a strong defense from the structures. We don't need too many units to hold off an attack. So instead, we're going to try and go for a long game and invest in income early on. And you can see I'm actually already building just back here. I'm already building my sniper really far away, and it's on the high ground, so if they want to see it, they're going to have to get up into my Grismill to scout it. Over to the right, we got the first two expansions, the campfire and the Grismill there for the other team. And they're just starting to come in for an attack now, which is interesting to me. However, we haven't seen it yet. They've got a lot of toads, and they will do a lot of damage to us. They're trying to snipe us out a little bit. I'm not going to let that happen. I want them to get back. I want to keep the bullet hives there. I don't want to lose that money. You might notice just on the edge of their high ground, they've built a drum-fired cannons. I don't think we noticed that for a while. In fact, we can... hang on a second. Alright, this is their visibility. This is our visibility here. So we haven't scouted it. You see, it's not there yet. We don't know that it's there. We don't know that they've invested 180 food in building that. Saying that though, both me and John have invested 180 food in our tier 3 units. John 360 because this one's building, and my one will be building soon as I get the funds for it. I think I might sell off a hive or something to try and pay for it early on. Alright, they're building another drumfire cannon down there. So they're going to have 2 drumfire cannons, 360 food invested in defenses. That's going to hurt their army. And I guess it's fairly good because they're going to try and draw us to attack either early on when we first spot them, which we haven't. So instead, they're going to manage to get them up quite easily. And maybe we'll see if they have an impact on us later on in the game. However, there you have, just spotted it then. I believe that our defensive position on this high ground is so strong, and especially denying them these 2 Grismals that I'm wandering around now, I don't think they can possibly come back from that. Alright, I saw that little attack up here from Russian, and I noticed he's overextended. he doesn't have his teammate to protect him. So I get in there, I call John, I'm telling John, get in here, we can destroy him now. So we get in there, I lose my ferrets. It doesn't really matter though, because Russian is getting absolutely hammered by us. I don't know what Hanan or Crispy Fried Potatoes is doing. He's a bit slow to get in there. And then Badger fires up. That's it. The Gristmill is gone. Froze for a little bit there. I've also got my sniper coming in soon. Try and get her to take out some of their units. Thin them out a little bit. Maybe protect the Badger from some fire. We got some good reinforcements. Pause here to show the income real quick. A lot of farms just... because it's after the 5-minute mark, a lot of farms have gone fallow. So in fact, I've actually got very little income, but John has very good income, so he's got the capacity to rebuild quickly. We got another attack here. This is when the Drumfire Cannon did quite a bit of damage, as well as the Toads. However, my sniper had the high ground there. We got the air sniper as well, and they just took out so many units. If you have a look at the army value, the green and the yellow. Well, the yellow didn't reduce too much, but green, being Russian, reduced a lot. And they've got very little income. Both me and John have a second Gristmill. And so we're going to just pull back a little bit. We're going to try and rebuild our armies, stay out of the fire from the Gristmill. And we got this pretty comfortably, we reckon. Especially because we got the high ground early on. The air sniper, I don't know what the air sniper is doing. There you go. Russian has actually just given up. He realizes that our position on the high ground is a little bit too strong, especially with all those bullet hives that John's made. So now we're just building up our army, getting ready to attack the Drumfire Cannons, but they realize they wouldn't be enough to protect them. So Army Valley, I don't know if that, I think that must take into account the Drumfire Cannons. I think that's why there's the 2 giant spikes for Crispy Fried Potatoes. I think that's when you had them up and running. Russian, he was never... Me and John did a fairly good job, I reckon, of kind of denying him. Especially when he went for that expansion. We managed to single him out. He should have got Crispy Fried Potatoes to escort them. He didn't need to be standing around his base because they had the Drumfire Cannons there all going up. And he shouldn't have attacked us or thought about attacking us because that's such a strong defensive position. So really they should have gone out there together. They did have good Toads though, and they did quite a bit of damage. You can see a few times my army value especially dropped off very quickly just after the 5-minute mark, and I think that was due to a Toad rush. The income tells an interesting story here, I think. Russian had a huge income, but that's when he just expanded and he couldn't protect it. And John, with that forward expansion, he had just a little bit of income, especially at the end, just a few farms, but that was enough to rebuild and ward off any attacks and eventually overpower them. Yeah, there we go. That's the second game of Tooth and Tail. At the moment, really, the only ones I save the replays for are the ones that I win. They're the only ones I like watching, but I think if I actually kind of like commentating over them, so I think for some future ones I'll even save some where I lose. It does happen, I do lose sometimes. And yeah, maybe we can deconstruct them, see where I went wrong, see where my opponents did well. And yeah, thanks for watching.